Tai Chi Basics with 2 turns. So remember, you're trying to move the thighs forward to create circles. So when you shift to the right, you pick up your left heel, and you step out with your left foot pointing straight, and then you shift your left foot and toe in the right. Feet are parallel, they're pretty close. You want to feel your insteps lift, and drop your tailbone and open the shoulders, open the hips. As the tailbone drops, the head top lifts and the chin drops, and that lifts the hands. All those counterbalance the hands lifting. Then you exhale and the hands come back. And then you draw. So there's 6 changes in the hands. The fingers point to the floor, that's the first change. That's your inhale. Exhale, fingers point straight. Number 2. 3, the hands come back. 4, the hands rotate so they're pointing up to the sky. 5, they drop and the wrists bend. And then you exhale and they are now facing the floor at a diagonal. But more importantly, you want to open the shoulders and open the hips to lift the hands. Feel the tailbone really sink, and you feel your legs are not locked, they're a little bit bent. So you're creating pung in the legs, but the legs are straight. So you're learning how to create pung without bending your legs. Now you bend the legs to 50-50, and now you've created pung in both legs. So that's still double weighted, but you at least have created pung by moving the thighs forward. Pung just means board off, or this round energy. And then you're going to relax your right side body, and that puts a little weight on the left. Then you relax and dissolve your left side body, and that bends the right hip joint. No turning yet. So this is the vertical circle, and really this circle is about sinking. So you're trying to just sink straight down into your feet, and particularly that one foot. And you do it by dissolving the empty leg. As the empty leg dissolves, it swings forward. Once it can dissolve. And you do a repetition of 5. So you go across 5 times on both sides, so that 10 total. And then once you're done with 5, you turn towards the full hip joint. So you don't turn away from your full leg, you turn into it, and you fold the gua. You bend the hip joint. And that is facilitated by relaxing and dissolving the empty leg even more. So this is the horizontal circle now. And I just call it really the spiral circle, because you're creating a spiral in the empty leg, and it goes into the full leg, like that. So that's what I call the yang circle. The full leg is creating what I call the yin circle, the earth circle. And so you want those two to be very distinguished clearly. And that's the whole purpose of this exercise. Now you're going to take the left foot and slide it out a little bit. So these 2 positions are to help with wave hands like clouds. So you shift to the left again by dissolving the right, and this is back to the vertical circle. So we go back and forth from the vertical to the horizontal. And this is just to give you fluency and make you sure you understand them. And give you practice, right? So you want to shift to the right by dissolving the left hip joint, and shift to the left by dissolving the right hip joint. And really, you're putting your hand on the back of that hip joint, checking to see if it's actually at least relaxed, if not dissolved. At least don't have any tension there. So you're not pushing with the empty leg. This is so important. You're also not changing the shape of the leg. The leg stays bent, like we were in 50-50 or mabu. But you're just changing the consistency of the leg, but not the shape itself. Once you're clear on that, the empty leg just swings forward. And that allows the full hip joint to become a fulcrum for the circle, or the center of the circle. And then you change the direction of the circles to be horizontal, again by bending the full hip joint and putting all the weight there. You're trying to get 100% on that leg. And that allows the empty leg really to swing out in a spiral, kind of like a tornado. It's got that kind of feeling to it. It's just going out into the space, so to speak, or into the stratosphere, like that. And that's the idea of this circle, is your body becomes a vortex, but you don't twist your body. So make sure the shoulders stay right in line with the hips and the back stays straight. You don't ever do that. Okay, so then we go back to the vertical circle and we put the hands up in front. So really they're just propped up from the body, like branches of a tree. And you're just moving the trunk of the tree from one hip or one foot to the other. Once you understand how the hips feel, the full hip joint, you want to drop that feeling into your foot, into your bubbling well. So you want the whole body actually to pour into the bubbling well until there's nothing left in the upper body except maybe just the frame. So you're dissolving out all the harsh particulates, or I call it adhesions in the body. And this is the healing process that Tai Chi adheres to. And then we turn into the full hip joint. Again, you don't push with the empty leg or empty hip or empty shoulder to make a turn. You just drop into the full hip joint and dissolve the empty leg more. And that creates this horizontal movement. And at first it might be very, very small, but that doesn't matter. With practice you get better at it. You'll be able to dissolve more and be able to relax more. So at the same time that will give you more root. It's the relaxation that allows root to be possible. Okay, then one hand up, we go to brush knee now. So we're going opposite hand and foot. As you shift to the right, the left hand lifts, and we're back to this vertical circle. And you can kind of see the circle with this one now because the hand's doing down, forward, and up like that. So the empty thigh really swings forward, and that gives power or movement to this same hand on that side. The full leg is dropping down into the ground, that full hip joint, and so is that hand on that side. So likewise, they're kind of mirroring the legs. So this is the main purpose of this practice, is actually to make the lower body and the upper body synced up or integrated. So then you're going to turn horizontally, and the hand just moves horizontally. Breeze going by. And this move is Pat Horse's mane in the form of a little pat, actually. And it's a little bit like clouds moving across the plains. And that empty leg, again, is powering this arm, making it swing forward in this spiral or horizontal movement. And you never move the thighs back, especially the empty one. It always swings forward. At the peak of it going forward, it starts going down, but it never goes back. Okay, and then you swing the empty thigh forward, and that lifts the hand again in this vertical circle. Again, you're not pushing with the empty thigh, you're just dissolving it so much that it just swings forward in front of you. And then try to make it straight vertical like that. So it's down, forward, and through. And again, the full hip joint is becoming the fulcrum and the root for that circle. So this is really important. That's really what you're after. And you're trying to line up your whole body with your bubbling well, which is very forward over your foot. And then you spiral into the bubbling well. So the whole body is just kind of like a vortex going down into the bubbling well. This is that second turn, horizontal turn. And like that. Hand just goes down the inseam. So because you make a big spiral with the empty leg, the hand moves down the empty leg in a spiral too. Actually rotates in a spiral, the arm. So again, lower body, upper body, completely synced up. Integrated. It says in the classics that's the first step, is just to integrate lower and upper body. Okay. Now you can stand in any posture you like at that point, but we're just going to toe out and go right into the next version. So you're going to be in a 70-30 posture now. So your weight, you can start at 50-50 again, which is our play guitar and our form, but we're going to dissolve the left leg a little bit to put 70% on the right, and the right hip joint is dropping, and you can put your hand on the front of that hip joint to tell it to drop. And the left hand is on the back of the left one telling you to relax. We're checking it at least. And then you're going to face the diagonal and bend the left hip joint down towards the ground and dissolve the right thigh. That's the first circle, the vertical circle. And you're just, again, creating this fulcrum in the hip and dissolving this thigh forward to the diagonal. Like that. So that's the process, and you just try to shift it by dissolving again, try not to move your knees. The knees stay relatively stable, especially the full one. You don't want to move that one at all. And you want to just also try not to move the shoulders, just keep them right in line with the hips. And you're going diagonal when you go back and cardinal when you go forward. And then you count to 5. Here's 5 now. Then we do the spiral turn. So you're going to, or the horizontal turn, you're diving into the foot in a spiral like that. And the hand now can go on the navel. Remember, everything's supposed to move from the navel, from the dantian. Everything is directed by it. The tailbone should be dropped. The left thigh never goes back. It always goes forward to the diagonal to my left. So never pull it back this way. It's a common mistake. You want to move it forward and under like that. That keeps your root. If you pull it back, you break your root. So you don't want that. You want to keep creating your root. 4. And that's the spiral turn. 5. And everything just vortexing into the foot. And then we go back to push, just like we did in the last repetition. And we're shifting forward and back. And we're not turning now. We're going straight, so you can kind of see how the circle presents itself. And you should feel like the circles are way deep in the ground underneath you. And you're just at the very top of this huge sphere, which is really the earth. So this is the earth circle, I call it, because it is that pung that is the earth. It's omnipresent for us. We have to deal with it because of the gravity of the earth, right? So like that. The next one is I call the heaven circle, the spiral, because you know, it's much lighter. It's etheric. It's like the galaxies spinning in spirals. It's, you know, like the tornadoes, hurricanes, everything moving in spirals that way. Typhoons, everything. So all living things have this DNA as its basis as well. So spirals are really at our core in a lot of ways. So that's the vortex, and then back to the vertical circle. So this vertical circle with brushed knee now creates the structure, the upright structure, so we can deal with gravity properly. So this is really important. That's earth. You're just learning to stand on the earth with the best structure possible, with the shoulders lined with the hips, and using the legs and not the upper body. So again, try not to let the head lead and the shoulders lead, but let the hips and the tailbone lead. 5, and then we turn horizontally, like that. And then this is Pat versus me, okay? And then back to that spiral circle. So you should see that these two circles are separate in the beginning, and later on you're going to feel like they're the same. But in the beginning you have to make them very clearly distinguished. And then you can blend them a little bit. And that's what the forms do, actually. They blend them quite a bit. Now we go back to the vertical circle, or the earth circle, upright circle, centered circle. This first circle is center equilibrium. So you want to feel that center equilibrium all the time with this practice. And then once you have that, you try to move the body as a unit. Those two are the most important principles, I think, is moving the body as a unit and being central equilibrium. So you want to move the joints exactly together. There's no separation, and that's what a spiral does, actually. Circles as well imply that everything's connected by the circles. So now we'll try the other side. So you can just toe out your right foot, bring your left foot forward, make sure you're nice and wide, shoulder width still, hips open, shoulders really open, back really tall, tailbone really heavy. 50-50. Then you can shift back to the right and face the diagonal and try not to move your knees. So your thighs feel like they're spreading apart a little bit and kind of rolling. Right one rolling out, the right one kind of rolling in a little bit to the right. And then the left one rolls out as the right one kind of opens out to the right. So the right thigh is going that way, or left one kind of rolling in this way. So sometimes it's kind of like two cylinders, your thighs, and they're just rotating on a vertical axis almost. So you want them to rotate together. So you do that by dissolving one thigh and the other one accepting the weight that's been dissolved out of the other leg. So these two happen simultaneous and continuous. That is, you never stop it. Once it starts, it just starts again on the other side, so it becomes blended perfectly. So this shows you how to shift smoothly and continuously without break. This is also one of the principles of Tai Chi too, so you don't want to break the movements up. And then you turn horizontally. Again, back to the spiral circle. Again, one hand is on the tummy for this one, and the other one on the back of the empty leg, just telling you to dissolve, relax, and release. So you always get a stress release on that leg and that shoulder, hopefully, on that empty side. Right. And we do a repetition of 5 again, and then push. 1. So now we're going to go straight. And my teacher wanted us to do it this way because we kind of do this way a lot in the form, so it's good to see that. Just that straightforward and back aspect. And this is that vertical circle. So the right thigh, again, don't move the right thigh back, just keep it going forward to the diagonal over there. And then that makes you upright. So your whole spine lines with this vertical right thigh. Same line, same vertical line from the thigh up to your head top. And then you turn. Ideally, you're trying to get that vertical thigh to help you line your tailbone up with your bubbling well, over your, which is kind of over the front part of your foot, behind your ball of your big toe. So you want your tailbone and your head top just to drop right into that bubbling well. But in the beginning, just try to line up the body vertically. And then as you relax the empty thigh more and more, you'll be able to get your body lined up with the bubbling well more and more. And so then you'll have your root. So that's the purpose. Again, you're just developing root now. Vertical circle again. And the hand comes up in this brush knee position. So if you shift to the right, you lift to your left. So this is cross body. This is also separating yin and yang, when you have this cross body connection. If you shift right, you feel the left hand full, shift left, feel the right hand full, like that. And that's good. And then we go horizontal. Still opposite hand and foot, but now with this spiral going on. And you should feel the spiral really coming up from the ground. That is, I call them elevators. If you sink down on the right side, something's coming up that same leg and going into the opposite arm. I call them 2 elevators. One going down creates something coming up. And this is really important. So the hand lifts. So the more you sink down into the foot, the more you get to lift the hand. If you don't sink down, you don't get to lift the hand. That's just how it goes. So without sinking down, you have no correspondence with the lower body. So you're just moving the hand willy-nilly, and we don't do that in Tai Chi. That's what makes Tai Chi Tai Chi. Supreme ultimate yin and yang boxing. It's like that. So then turn horizontally. So it's this integration that's really missing in our cultures, in our world right now. So this is a way of integrating earth and heaven together in your body. So you actually feel them. You don't just think about it like a book or something. It's not like that. You actually feel these things in your body and their different energies. Okay. And then you can hold any posture you like.